Hey there, we have like eons of stories to tell, so if you want to follow us along on this journey and keep up with all the stories that we have putting out, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hope you enjoy. Thank you. Hey, what is up everybody? Chad here, and today we have the conclusion of Gorr the God Butcher story. Now this, the ending of this story is ridiculous. Like, it is so good. It is crazy how, like, Jason Aaron is ridiculous when it comes to writing. Like, this ending is amazing. So, alright. Last we left off, the bomb had just exploded. Everyone was on the verge of dying, and Thor had to do something quick. So when we like pick up here, the librarian, right? We had the librarian, him and Shadrach, and they're just like talking about the bomb, and he's like asking Shadrach, like what's going on with the bomb? Like, how long do we have until we just, like die? Like tell us something. And Shadrach's just trying to explain to him, like, I mean, it doesn't work like that. Like, it just permeates throughout time. Like, it doesn't matter what you do, it's gonna like go to, your past self or whatever, and it's gonna kill you, right? Regardless of what happens here. So they both end up just like falling over and dying, right? Like, they just straight up die. And like they have like this black mist, right? Like, it's the same thing that like covers like Gorr the God Butcher's body, basically. So we know that like the weapon that he has is basically the thing going through and killing everything. Like, he's basically used the weapon as like the catalyst for it, right? So we go back to the explosion, right? And it's like blowing everybody away. And Gorr, he's just sitting there talking his trash because he know he just won. He's like, oh yeah, old Thor, you feel yourself dying? Like, you're dead here. Like, the bomb just went off. It don't matter what you do now. Like, either way, like all throughout time, like, even if you do live to the future, you're gonna die. Even like your past self is gonna die. You here, you're gonna die, and like stuff like that. He's just going off. And this commentary is like crazy good. He's like, if he had been a lesser god, Thor might have accepted that Gorr had won, and more so that Gorr deserved to win. That gods were cruel and jealous creatures, that it was time for their age to pass. But this was no lesser god. This was the god of roaring thunder and raging storms. And even if he had been the last god left alive in the universe, he still would have been god enough. And like God and Gorr, he's just like freaking out. He's like, what's this guy doing? Because like the modern Thor, when he blew it up, he still has 2 Mjolnirs. He's up there just like working out. He's doing what he gotta do. And basically, old Thor, he's just like, he's dying like a god. Just Thor, the writings of Thor are just crazy good. Like, these wordings are ridiculous. And basically, this is where we get the commentary again. A vision of one god with a mighty hammer in each hand, fighting at the heart of a bomb to save them all. And for one moment, stretched across time, every god in all the universe closed their eyes and prayed to Thor. And Thor, he's just going ham. He's in there absorbing the entire explosion from this bomb, right? And like, all we see is Odin praying to Thor. This is something that Odin never does. Like, he doesn't just sit there and just like, like give his son like, credit when it's due, right? Like that Odin doesn't do that. And to see him doing that now is insane, because Thor, he's like up there, he has 2 Mjolnirs and he's absorbing this entire explosion. Like, all that energy that was supposed to permeate throughout all time and kill all these guys, he absorbed all of it, right? So the explosion goes away. Everybody started getting up. Like, the bomb didn't kill anybody, right? Like, that's a good question. How did it kill those people in the past? We're not gonna talk about that right now. All right, so everybody gets up. They're like looking, right? And they're like, oh, we're alive? Like, we didn't die from that? What happened? And basically, young Thor's like, I mean, yeah, we didn't die, but like, Gorr's still alive. Look. And basically, Gorr, he's just sitting there. He's like looking around. He's confused. He's like, where's all my berserkers? Like, where all my conjurings go? My constructs? Where's the weapon? And we look at Thor. 2 hammers, clad in black. Like, he has the all black now, and he's telling Gorr, he's like, okay, you weren't fit to wield this weapon. This right here, if you don't know, is all black, the necro sword. That, like, this is basically like, Gorr never knew what this weapon was, and basically what he starts telling him is like, this weapon was meant to be wielded by gods, and it was also meant to slay gods, which is what's about to happen. Basically saying he's about to take it to Gorr the God Butcher. Oh my god, Thor is amazing. Alright, so like Thor, he takes both the Mjolnirs, blasts Gorr with all that energy, sends him flying. Now, Gorr, when he's not dead, but he's like able to get up, and he's like trying to get up, right? And he's like sees his son, he starts like freaking out, right? And like his son, he's just like talking to him, he's basically like, okay, Gorr, you did all this. This is your fault. And Gorr, he's just like, like the gods did this. And his son's like, no, they did not. Like, you did this. Like, were they the ones that killed my mom? No. Were they the ones that like had this, we're trying to like go on this like massive kill spree? No, like, this was all you. And basically, like, when he's like saying all that, he's saying like, you can't blame them anymore. He like disappears, right? And then like he disappears and turns into this like this little like this shard, right? Basically, like they're like everybody's like confused, and they basically find out that his son was created from the necro sword. Like, his son was never there. Like, he was just like, like he was basically like one of the black berserkers. He was a construct that Gorr made using the weapon, right? So Gorr, he just like starts freaking out because he's like, you know, alone again, you know, like he's all sad and stuff. And Gorr, I mean, and young Thor, he just comes over there, lops his head off with the he just takes his head off with the hammer, right? Now, with modern Thor, he just took the all black necrosword into himself, so he's dying here. Like the like residuals of the necrosword are still inside him. It's basically killing him, right? So he dies, and he ends up waking up like, you know, 3 days later in Asgard, right? So he wakes up, you know, he's like, okay, I just had a crazy dream. There was 3 of me, you know, I was fighting this crazy, like, you know, tentacle, you know, like alien is trying to kill all the gods. And basically the young Thor and old Thor are like, okay, yeah, like this guy's up. And basically this is where we find out, like when he's asking like what happened to Gorr and the sword, right? So this is gonna like sound crazy what old Thor did here, but like basically what he did was, all right, so Gorr, he died, right? And basically he threw the planet that had the sword on it into a black hole. Like old Thor's crazy. All right, so like he threw the planet into a black hole, and basically what he did from there was he used the Thor force and basically brought modern Thor back to life, like, cause he was dying, like he was dead, like, and basically what he did was he like burned out the necrosword from inside of Thor, like the residuals of like what it left behind. And basically like they all start talking, right? So old Thor, he's talking to young Thor, right? And he's basically like saying, okay, like I failed a lot, you know, there's a lot that I could have done better. He was telling like young Thor, like, you will never become what you always thought to become, pretty much, you know, stuff like that. And basically young Thor, he's like, oh, well, I mean, yeah, I will. Like, I'm gonna pick that hammer up. Y'all got it, so what makes you think I won't get it? Like y'all are literally the future versions of me. And old Thor, he just looks at it, he's like, no, like, you'll never be the son that he wants you to be. And it's just like, oh my god, like reading that was like kind of messed up. Like I was like, oh my god, that is so heartbreaking. So young Thor, you know, he's mad. He's like, oh, whatever, man, I don't care. I ain't trying to be a son anyway, like, you know, all that kind of stuff, you know. And basically like he leaves. So old Thor and modern Thor, they start talking about, you know, like the gods, you know, like what happened to all the gods. And basically like old Thor is telling him that, like, I mean, well, yeah, a lot of these guys, they didn't even know where they came from, right? You know, like they were there so long, so many centuries, like millennia, like they don't even know where, like if they where they actually came from, like what their home actually was. So, you know, they're just here, you know, they're in Asgard, you know, they're chilling and stuff like that. And basically, so after that, modern Thor, he ends up leaving, right? So modern Thor, where he goes is, right, you know, he's like basically he has like the impression that, you know, Gorr could have been right, because that was something that was going on like this entire time, like the entire fight that they had. You know, he was like, okay, well, is Gorr right? Like, what's like, do gods actually deserve to exist? Like, do we actually, you know, answer the prayers that people, you know, call for, right? And basically what he does is he goes back to where he was at the beginning of the story to answer the prayer of that girl from Indigar, who basically was like praying to him. You know, he goes there and he's like, okay, yeah, like I told you I'd be back, you know, stuff like that. And thus ends the tale of Gorr the God Butcher. Now, I love this story. This is like one of the best Thor stories I've ever read, other than like God of Hammers. But like this story is crazy good. So if you're new to the channel, subscribe, leave a like if you enjoyed the story, and I will see y'all in the next one.